This was going to be a video about beating Hollow Knight with only the worst charms. It was going to be a fun little video, I do the challenge, some people watch it, I gain a new appreciation for some of the charms, everybody's happy. But this quickly devolved into the absolute worst run of Hollow Knight that I have ever had in my over 300 hours of playtime, and it genuinely made me want to quit. The beginning of the game was normal, as usual. The only difference was that I didn't pick up any charms until Sands and Super Glue, since I could only use D and F tier charms. So right off the bat, I was already at a severe disadvantage for my self-imposed challenge. But I did Shade Skip, got Dream Nail, and got Wings, Nail 1, and Super Dash before I decided I was ready to do all the Dreamers. And this is where things started to take a turn for the worse. First of all, I failed the background pogo to get to Watcher Knights every time I passed by it until I got Wings. So there's that. Second of all, Watcher Knights. I was gonna make a joke like, oh, look who's causing problems again, it's Watcher Knights, well, but they were the only thing in this entire run to actually be normal and go well. Watcher Knights went well. At the time I wasn't complaining, and I was cautiously optimistic about maybe even getting a good time. That optimism would quickly fade. I pulled off the acid skip into Fog Canyon for my first time ever, I know, hold your applause, and I headed down to Monument. Now, I had not gotten Isma's Tear, and I was not immune to acid, so this part proved to be a little sketchy, but after an Umu fight that lasted like 20 minutes, I was once again feeling cautiously optimistic. Then I remembered QGA. If you don't know what QGA is, it's that. And that wasn't me, because I don't know how to do this. I tried for a little while, but eventually I decided that learning the hardest skip in the game for a random YouTube challenge low-key ain't worth it. So instead I decided I would go down to Bilewater Light and get into Deep Nest through Mantis Lords. Obviously the fight was easy and I got in with no problem, but after a few minutes of going through Deep Nest I reached the part where it was dark, because I didn't have Lantern. So if I wanted to do this I would have to dark room all of Deep Nest. I am not doing that. I am not a masochist. So I decided I would just get Isma's Tear and go through QGA normally instead of getting Lantern and then going through the entirety of Deep Nest. So I did that, and I went through QGA and through all of Queen's Gardens until I reached this bench right here before the entrance to Deep Nest. And I said to myself, oh, you know, I'm not going to get cocky. I'm going to get this safety bench here, so I'll just come back here if I die in Deep Nest. Nothing bad can come of this. So I went down into Deep Nest and oh, would you look at that? It's another dark room. I still need Lantern. I tried to go through it without a light, but it is nearly impossible for a mere mortal such as myself. So I went back through all of Queen's Gardens again to go back up to Dirtmouth where I was just shy of 1800 Geo, bought Lantern, went back through all of Queen's Gardens again to finally get back to Deep Nest. And see, if I had gotten cocky and said, oh yeah, I don't need a safety bench, then I could have benched back at a Queen Station. I wouldn't be in this situation. But you know what I did? I didn't learn my lesson, that's what. I benched here again, because I thought, you know, I have everything I need, there's no way anything else can go wrong. And Deep Nest said, oh yeah, you do have everything, don't you? Well, you know what else you have? Bad luck. The RNG as I went through Deep Nest was so comically bad that there is no shot the game isn't sentient and actively trying to spite me. But finally, I got to Distant Village, and since I had Crystal Dash and Double Jump, there was a funky skip I could do that I definitely did not fail 3 times. I killed Hera, finally, and now all I had left to do was take the stag back up to Dirtmouth, go down to the Black Egg, and... Now finally, I can kill the Hollow Knight and beat the challenge. There is absolutely no possible way that anything else could possibly go wrong. And for the first time in this entire run, I was right. I beat him first try, and the worst thing that happened was he did his slam attack 3 times in a row. I ended with a time of like 2 hours 40 minutes, and the only charms I ever used were Sands and Useless. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe. If this video gets 3.5 likes, I'll do this challenge again, but I have to get every charm in D and F tier before I beat the game. Next video will be beating the game well encased in cement. Goodbye.